What's going on, guys? George from SFA Cichlids here. Today I'm going to be showing you the best food that you can buy for your African cichlids. Stay tuned. If you're new to the channel, my name is George. I'm a local African cichlid breeder here in Miami, Florida. I post product reviews, how-tos, DIYs, tank updates, breeding updates, and more. So please go check out my channel. If you like the content you see, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell down low so you can see when my videos are being posted. Thank you, and let's get on with the review. The links to all these products will be down in the description, so make sure to check that out. When choosing fish food for your African cichlids, there's a lot of things to consider. African cichlids are known of getting bloat, which is usually due to too much protein in the food or too many fillers. So you're definitely going to want to avoid as much fillers as you can. They could consume large amounts of protein, up to 50% when they are small, but as they reach adult size, I would not recommend anything over 40%. As you can see, most of the foods here that I have are a mix of Norfin USA and New Life Spectrum. I've been using New Life Spectrum the longest for the past 8+ years and have not had a single issue. All my fish have always been as colorful as possible, and I've received many compliments of them, which is why I decided to make this video. I do sell fish locally here in Miami, Florida, and to everyone that I do sell the fish to, I highly recommend all these foods that I have here, starting from the fry. When they're the smallest size, like newborns, you want to feed them the fry starter. This is a Norfin fry starter, 250 microns, which is tiny. And this is the biggest one I've bought yet. I think it's 250 grams. And this is about like $26, but it will last me quite a while. Moving up from that, they get the New Life Spectrum Grow. It's a 0.5 millimeter sinking pellet, and it has high amount of proteins. I think it's like 48% or something very high like that. And I'll be looking at the ingredients and stuff with you in a little bit. Then they get the cichlid formula, which is 1 millimeter. This was a gift from Super Cichlids to us, which I will be trying as the Norfin cichlid formula, 2 millimeters. But the only bad part about the New Life Spectrum cichlid formula is that now it only comes in 1 millimeter pellets. They used to offer it in 2 and 3, but no longer the case. But they do have the tropical fish formula, which has the same ingredients and the same amount of protein. And I have contacted them, and they said that that's the direct replacement for the bigger size pellets. In these bags, this is some Norfin veggie formula. This is what I feed my Mbuna. These are a little bigger pellets. I think they're about 2 to 3 millimeters. But the Yellow Labs and the Cobius get mostly this. You know, they really like the veggie matter, whether it be algae in the tanks or feeding them this food, but they do prefer it more than the cichlid food, and it prevents them from getting bloat. Then over here we have some Norfin veggie rounds, this is the first time that I have ordered them, but my fish do love them. One complaint that I do have about it is that, if you could see here in this video, they are very thick. I'm used to buying the Omega-1, and I've been buying that for years, and it's been working fine. I just decided to buy the Norfin because if you buy it in bigger quantity, you save some money. So if you're gonna break it down with your hands, it's just a little bit harder with these. And the last food that I wanted to talk about is Cichlid Lovers Premium Color Flake. I've been using this for the past 3 weeks or so. It's a color flake that contains a high amount of astaxanthin, which is what makes your fish turn red. So if you did not know, in the aquarium industry, red often refers to any color from orange all the way to like a true red, like the color of this right here. Very little fish actually turn this color. Yeah, with the exception of like a jewel cichlid or some, I don't know. There's not very many fish that turn completely red like that. Most fish are gonna be an orange, as you see there. But I've been feeding this to my Ruby Red because I did notice that Alan, when he shipped the Ruby Red, it had more color, like more red color than it does now. Now it's got a more orange. but I can say that the red has improved. This is typical of like the food that you see for flower horns to give them that red coloring. It has a high amount of astaxanthin, and it is a natural ingredient that comes from krill, and it's just another thing that needs to be in a diet. That being said, all the foods that I use, one of the main ingredients is whole krill, which does contain a little bit of astaxanthin, but it is not enough to show all the potential of the fish. When it comes to feeding your fish, something that you're definitely going to want to take into consideration is how much you want to spend on your food and what type of quality you want. These are all top quality foods, but that being said, the fish don't have to consume a very large amount for them to get the nutritional value that they would from a lower quality food. So feeding higher quality food is not only going to make your fish look better, but it's also better for them and better for your tank because you're going to have less poop in there. I always like to keep a varied diet with my fish. So let's say one day for the fry that I'm growing out, I'll feed them this grow. Then I usually feed fry 2 to 3 times a day, by the way. Grow, then the next day I'll feed them some of these color flakes that they're my ruby red, so they go off to their new homes already with a nice deep red color. Then some other days I might feed them veggie pellets or veggie rounds. It's also good to feed them all these different foods because you don't know when somebody buys a fish from you what they're gonna feed them. So if your fish is already used to eating all these different types of food, it's more likely that they're just gonna eat anything the other owner throws in the tank, which is a plus. So now let's take a look at some of these foods really quickly. So this is the Norfin Fry Starter. As you can see, it has 48% protein and it is very fine. What I'm gonna do here real quick is I have this teaspoon. I'm gonna put each one of these foods into the teaspoon so you could get a better look at what it looks like. This Norfin Fry Starter, this I feed it to fry until they get about 3/4 inch, and then I'll move them to the New Life Spectrum Grow. Hopefully this is focusing nicely there for you, that 4K video. So that's what the Fry Starter looks like. It's pretty much like a very fine powder, and that just... Moving on to the next food that I'll feed is the New Life Spectrum Grow. So I'll feed this from when the fish are maybe 3/4 inch till they're about 1.5 inches or 2 inches. This will really get them growing quickly. You can see the crude protein is 48%. All of the New Life Spectrum ingredients are always whole fish, whole Atlantic krill, Ulva seaweed, which is one thing I like over the Norfin, because if we take a look at the Norfin here, you can see the ingredient is whole Antarctic krill meal. It's a lot of meals, which you don't know what type of fillers they added to that. But yeah, that's why I've always liked the New Life Spectrum better. So let's take a look at what this grow looks like. All right, here is the New Life Spectrum Grow. As you can see, they're very tiny little micro pellets. They're half a millimeter, I believe. And yeah, feed this to fish 3/4 inch to about 1.5 inches or 2 inches. The next food I feed is the New Life Spectrum Cichlid Formula 1 millimeter sinking pellets, and this is pretty much a good all-around food. You could feed them from the time they're like 1.5 inches, and you could feed it all the way till they're adults, about 5 or 6 inches. I have fish that are like 6 inch plus that eat this. So if we come to the back over here, you can see the protein is 34%. So it dropped a lot from the 48. Now you got 34% protein, but you still got all the best of the best ingredients. Let's take a look at what this looks like here. Let's take a little scoop. There we go. See, these are quite a bit bigger. But New Life Spectrum did change their formula recently, so these are actually smaller than the old 1 millimeter that they used to offer. Good food. This is the Norfin Cichlid Formula 2 millimeter sinking pellets. This has 40% protein, I believe. Yeah, 40% protein and some good ingredients. This food does come in 1, 2, and 3 millimeters, and there it kind of shows you the difference in between each. And let's take a little scoopful and see what they look like. Yeah, much bigger now. These are like, you're definitely gonna want to start feeding this to the fish that are like at least 1.5 inches. Now I do buy all my food in bulk, guys. I don't buy these little packets that you see here. These I just reuse them and refill them so I don't have to have the big one opened all the time. This next one is the Northfin Veggie. Excuse me for not having the bag, but this is all I have left. And this is what that looks like. It's great for all Mbuna peacocks, and if you want to feed it here and there to your peacocks, it is great as well. Remember guys, links to all these items will be in the description below. I've really been wanting to touch on this food more, and I'm going to make a whole separate video about it, about superfoods and what that means. But this food is very high in astaxanthin, and it is the nicest flake I've ever encountered. It's very dense, you know, and it doesn't break apart very easily. You have some nice big pieces in here. But this food is specifically for increasing the reds in your fish. Let's take a little scoop and see what it looks like. And this food is only sold by Cichlid Lovers Tropical Fish in Tucson, Arizona. I recently ordered some fish from them, and I decided to get half a pound of their premium color flakes, and I am glad I did. Now this you do not need to feed every day. You could feed maybe one day yes, one day no if you really want to see big improvements, and within 2 weeks you'll see an improvement in the coloration of your fish. And last but not least, we have the Northfin kelp wafers. These are great for your plecos, for your mbunas, anything that you want to give some spirulina and some kelp into their diet. This is great. It's great for African cichlids' digestive system. And I'm going to be showing you the size here real quick. Very, very nice. The only complaint, as I said before, is that they are on the thicker side, so they're a little harder to break down. So if you guys haven't had the chance to try these food out for yourself, I highly recommend you do so. I went ahead and did some research and found the best prices for everything, and I put the links down below, so go check that out and try them for yourself. I do recommend you buy in bulk, meaning, you know, sometimes they sell like the totes for like $50, but it's definitely worth it, because what you would be spending on the smaller quantities would be probably more than double that if you do decide to go that route. I hope you liked the video. Hit that thumbs up button if you did, or the thumbs down. Just let me know what I could do to improve, and I'll see you on the next video.